Hey, everybody, this is Rory McDonald with MacDon Associates coming to you with the next episode of Tuesdays with Rory. Obviously, studio looks a little bit different today, and I have a new face, which hopefully becomes a familiar face for you guys out there. This is Todd Bonanno, new friend of mine. Just went out ice fishing the first time a couple days ago. Pretty excited for you to share some of that too. But have him in here. He is describe what you do. Let's start with that. What is it that you do? You're new to Michigan. Share kind of some of that as well, if you can.
Yeah, sure. So from Northern California, brought the family out here to be closer to her family. So yeah, that's correct. I'm in the stress reduction business, if you will. I help people reduce stress in their lives for the future. A lot of it to do with life insurance, family protection, stuff like that.
Awesome. So to give you guys a quick layout to break this down, you just moved here from California. And actually, let's start. I want to start with this. You just moved here from California. It's 7 degrees outside.
That's correct. Yeah.
It is not warm at all.
No.
You just went ice fishing for the first time, which I'm sure some of my friends are like, "Hey, how'd you do? How'd you do ice fishing?"
Yeah, we did. We did good. It was weird to walk on water, right? As a man of the Lord, it's pretty cool. Cutting big holes, looking at into just a glass fish tank and waiting for something to swim by was an experience I've never had.
Yeah.
Watching a fish come by and actually catching it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
My 13-year-old son and my brother-in-law were out there and for like 6 or 7 hours. So yeah, it was interesting to sit inside of a tent, but yet there's no floor.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was new.
It's interesting. It's a lot of fun though. Like I think we were talking about a little bit. The ice fishing around here is unbelievable. Where were you guys at again?
We were up north near Grayling.
Okay.
It was called Big Bear or something. Bear Lake. Bear Lake.
Yeah. And just had a good time.
We had a phenomenal time. It was really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I never spent 9 hours on top of water. Never touched it, froze, but it was cool. I mean, if you have some cold beer, a heater, some good friend and family, it's a good way to spend the day.
For sure. Yeah. It's a good time. So yeah, that's awesome. So just to give you guys a quick idea, Todd, met him recently within the last probably month or so. And just through conversation and us talking, you kind of shared what it is that you do. And he described it to me as specifically golfers. You said, "Hey, I reduce stress of golfers so that they can get better at their golf."
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Dude,
I help golfers reduce stress so they can play better golf.
Yeah. So obviously we're going to get into that a little bit more, but this is strictly for you guys out there who have potentially worked with me, other real estate agents, or you've been in your house for a really long time, or you have no intent of buying right now and you're renting, but you have kids potentially or a marriage on the horizon. This is one that you are going to want to listen to. You're going to want to pay attention to this episode. You're going to want to reach out to Todd. You're going to see his phone number scroll across the screen. You might just want to call and reach out to me and ask questions. Definitely do that. And I will put you in touch with Todd for sure. But let's get into it. To start off, why is family protection so important? My family has it. A lot of friends and family that I know stress the importance of it, specifically in the generation older than me. But coming from the expertise side of things, and this is your profession, this is what you do. Why is this so important to somebody out there who we're talking to right now?
Sure. Well, I think it's not important until it's important, right? It's something that people put on the back burner. Like, oh yeah, no, I need to do that. I'll do it next year. I've had friends and family that have put it off. And today is the youngest and the healthiest I think you're ever going to be. Sure. So every day you wait for something, then something can happen. You might not qualify. Things can get, just ask some questions, protect yourself, protect your family, right? And then you never have to worry about it again. It's kind of my philosophy is we're all humans. We all know how life comes at us fast. So you have car insurance, you have homeowners insurance, protect your family, protect your income, protect your future.
I love it. So for somebody out there who, this is the people that we're talking to, right? Like my world is real estate. I don't have a clue when it comes to insurance. I just know that it is important, right? Okay. For somebody out there who they're looking at this, obviously let me rewind for a second. So when I'm working with somebody, when it comes to real estate, it's very easy for me to go, hey, here's what you need to do. Let's start looking for a house. You want this. That's not how it works in my world. And I'm sure it's probably similar to you as well, where there's a period of time, and I call it buyer consultation, for example, or a seller consultation, where I sit down with them and I say, hey, what what is it that you're trying to do? Like, what is it? Do you want to have a better school district? Is that the goal? Do you want to be in a specific school district? Are you looking for a 4-bedroom house and you want to be in Grosse Pointe, for example? What is it that you're looking for? And help me tailor my expertise and my understanding of how to get you where you want to go. Let me tailor that around you. Is that kind of how your world works as well?
Well, I think as a professional, like you said, for yourself and myself is, as a fiduciary, right? It's me helping each individual client. I'm going to build you a policy for you and your family. Everybody's different. Everybody's goals are different.
Mm-hmm.
So the definition of fiduciaries, right, is doing what's best for the client.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't do that unless we have just a conversation. And that's what I say is like, hey, there's no cost, there's no commitment. Let's just start with a conversation and see where it goes. What's important to you? And then we'll talk about it and build a plan, find a home, whatever suits you and your family and your goals the best.
Right, for sure. And so just to kind of give people kind of a little bit of a layout. Okay. So we'll use me for an example in this. Okay. So I am a 31-year-old male, right?
You look good for 31.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. No, that's good. I'm blushing. No, but 31-year-old male. I have a wife. She's going to be turning 31 here later on this year. We have 3 children. We have a mortgage, but like cars are paid off, things like that. If you're looking at a family such as myself, what I want to give people an idea of, like, this isn't just like, hey, write a policy and move on to the next one, right? There's a lot of insurance agents out there, specifically life insurance agents, that somebody calls and they say, hey, I want a $50,000 policy. And they go, okay, great, here you go. And reality is that's, I'm assuming you would look at somebody and go, hey, look, I'm willing to do that, but first time out, let's look at what it is that you're trying to accomplish here based off of your life circumstances, right? So if you're sitting across the table from me and we're having a conversation, obviously income and all the different things have a factor with that. But kind of help me understand working through your process when it comes to making sure somebody is getting the coverage that they need.
Sure.
How do you take those things into consideration?
Right. So that's a good point. There's what you can afford or invest monthly to protect your family is a key part of it. What are the goals? Also with me is it's not a one-stop shop, right? Meaning every year I'll contact you. Have you had another child? Did you get a raise? Are we protecting your retirement funding? Are we protecting college funding? Like all those things. Like if you're married, you don't have kids or aren't planning on kids, and we don't need to worry about setting up money for your errors, right? Like I want to leave my kids money. There's a bunch of different ways to go about a policy. It's not just a policy, right? There's term, there's whole life, there's IULs. It's literally a conversation to have by somebody like, do we want to put money away for retirement in this? Do we want to use it for college funding, retirement funding? There's just a bunch of different ways to do it. There's also, like, you'll probably get into it, but key man policies, right? I mean, just you own a business with a business partner. There's policies that can cover everything, just again, to reduce the stress in case something was to happen.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's a lot of ways for this to go, right? Like for somebody who's out there who they're working the 9 to 5, they're doing that kind of stuff. For somebody out there, obviously you tailor it around them, but to my understanding, this is just what I know, right? So you have term policies. Explain just basic. What is a term policy versus a life policy? What are the differences? Some of the differences between the two of those.
Sure. Term policy is for a certain period of time.
Okay.
I have a 13-year-old son. I own a term policy to make sure that if something was to happen to me, nothing's going to change financially for my wife until my son is off and gone and past college. So 20 years, right? He's 13. So that's a 15-year policy. Then I also have a permanent policy that will last until the day does come where I leave this God's green earth and move on. And that will either fund my wife's retirement, my son's moving on forward for a home. Just again, it depends on what your goals are. Some people are like, I'm not leaving anybody money. Okay, fine. But if in the meantime you have a family, so protect your family, protect your income. I mean, it's just, again, it just goes back to what are your goals and how can I help you reach them?
Yeah. Yep. And I know where I'm at. So I live in Richmond and I've had conversations around this too. And this, I don't know if this is an IUL thing or a life thing, but I know that there's, as a means of being able to transfer the wealth onto the next generation too. Is that IUL? What is an IUL?
So it's an indexed universal policy.
Okay.
It's tied to the S&P 500 it's also known as it's called infinite banking, meaning you could overfund it monthly. So the cost of the life insurance policy is X amount of dollars, $100 a month. But I want to put $500 a month away. It can only go up. It can never drop. It's tied to the S&P 500. It goes up. The policy will go up. It'll increase in interest. If the market ever was to crash, you can't lose $1. It's a phenomenal way. It's like a fixed index annuity. Your money's safe. It will grow. You can pull it out when you want to. It's called infinite banking. Again, we can get into the weeds with it, but it's really cool because it is a different way it's another bucket for retirement. I can overfund it. I can pull from it. I don't have to pay it back. There's a lot of benefits for it, but it fits against certain demographic of different people who wants to use it for that.
I gotcha. So would that be geared towards somebody who's like a 1099? Or is that or really anybody, but with 1099, would you go, hey, this is a really great option? Sure.
You could shove a bunch of money into it all year long. And then when taxes come at the end of the year and you want to pull it out, you can.
Okay.
Yep. You don't have to wait till you're 59 and a half. It's not like a 401k or anything like that.
Okay. So there's no penalty for.
That's correct.
I gotcha. Cool. So yeah, there's obviously, you guys can tell there's a lot of moving parts that exist within this, really as a means of being able to tailor your needs around your life insurance policy, similar to, like I said, when it comes to the sale or the purchase of real estate, tailoring your needs, your family needs, your day-to-day needs around what it is that you're looking to purchase, and in turn changes how we operate too, which is the exact same way for you. So getting into that, so you have buy-sell agreements, you have term life policy or key person policies, things like that, which we can definitely get into. One of the things, there's two other topics that I really wanted to touch on. Being a 1099, we'll get into how we met, because I think that's important. I think you all out there who are local business owners, I think it's important for you, or those of you who are into networking and meeting people, you need to hear how we met, because it's super cool.
Steam rooms are phenomenal. Sorry.
No, it's good. Yeah. So you need to hear that. And then the other thing that I was going to say, and I see this, I've noticed this in your guys' world, is how some life insurance agents go about sometimes with a sale. I don't want to get too into it, because I don't want to get too into it, but there's a process, if you will, not a process. That's not the right word, but there's a degree of empathy, if that makes sense, that has to exist, because you're talking about somebody's life. And it's not really just a means of coming at somebody and going, hey, I'm ready. Here I am. Buy it now. Well, what happens if, things like that? Do you mind touching on that a little bit too?
Like the scare tactic kind of a thing that we mentioned earlier?
You said it,
okay,
not me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Right. I mean, again, we're talking about someone's life. We're all going to leave this planet at some point, hopefully later than sooner, right? But yeah, people go at it different ways. I'm a very calm, collective human being. Like I like to help people reach their goals. I'm not going to scare them into like, oh, you should have done this. If something happens, your family's going to hate you forever, blah, blah, blah. It's just about having a conversation and making sure that you are doing what's best for your family, your business, your retirement, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a bunch of ways to go around it. There's no cost. There's no commitment. It's literally just a conversation. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right. And that's the thing that I honestly respect about you and our conversation. Like, it wasn't hey, I'm just trying to sell you something.
Right.
It was truly I'm willing to look at this for you. Let me know.
Well, good point you had the other day, right, was I just moved here. I just bought a house.
Yeah.
You're a real estate agent. I'm not buying a home from you anytime soon.
Right.
Well, maybe I am. Maybe I do buy a rental property or a commercial property or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But not trying to go, oh man, this guy's there's no reason to talk to him or build a rapport with him or a relationship with him due to the fact that I just bought a house 4 months ago.
Exactly.
Right. But it's not me. It's my neighbor, my friends, family that live here, that if and when they need to move on to another home, talk to my boy Rory.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And so I run into this, and I see this all the time with real estate agents. I actually talked to one recently, not a part of the company here at EXP. They're at another company, but I'm really involved in my church. So I go to a church over in Warren. We're super involved. It's called Paradox Church. It's absolutely amazing. They do a lot of really cool things for the community. But one of the things that the pastor, who's a really good friend of mine, his name is Dave Kubiak, David R. Kubiak. He doesn't like when I use his middle initial. He cares about local businesses. He really loves local businesses. He wants to see them growing and flourishing. I'm not the only real estate agent within the church. There's another really awesome real estate agent couple. It's the Burke team. They work for a company called Caldera Real Estate. It's Greg and Marcy Burke. They're absolutely amazing. And actually, it's Marcy's birthday today. Happy birthday, Marcy, as we're filming this. But the cool thing about this, and this is conversations with other real estate agents, not Greg and Marcy in this situation, but I sat down with somebody, had an awesome conversation with them. I was like, hey, come to my church. And they're like, well, you go to your church. I go, yeah, exactly. Come to my church. Well, I want to be the only real estate agent of the church I go to. Like, time out. Wait a minute. Then don't come. Like,
right.
If the goal for you is to sell something before it's community, I'm probably not it.
100% out. Yeah.
You know, like it's a
turnoff.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Rubbed me the wrong way completely. So that was the cool thing. And it's exactly what it is that you're saying. But how we met, this is what's so cool. So for those of you out there who know me, Todd is very similar to me in this way, where I will talk to you, have a conversation with, strike up a long conversation in some instances with absolutely anybody, and we will get on all kinds of different topics, and usually some sort of friendship ends up coming out of it, right? And that's just the idea behind networking. And I've noticed this within real estate. You probably have with some of the life insurance agents that you've worked with in the past, where there's this presumption that I got my real estate license and I post something on Facebook, therefore flock to me, right? Like, now I have my real estate license. All of you who are thinking about buying a house in the next 10 to 12 years,
they're just going to come.
Now they're just going to show up. Yeah. Like, and that's not at all how this conversation began. We literally sat down in a steam room.
What is the steam room? Yeah. Is it true?
At Crunch Fitness.
This is true.
And we said, hey man, what do you do?
Right. Right. Yeah. No, all conversations, right. And like you said, and that's one thing I liked, is when you're passionate with what you do, whether it's a steam cleaner or a restaurant or anything that's local, right? Support the local. Just because you always wanted to open an Italian restaurant, and I'm Italian, my last name is Bonanno, and I moved to Clinton Township, which just happens to be in a massive Italian influence. I just opened Bonanno's restaurant. Doesn't mean everybody's going to come to it, right? It doesn't have anything to do with anything. You need to build the rapport. You need to have the conversations, tell people about it, just like what me and you did, sitting in a steam room for longer than we probably should have.
For sure. It was all good for us, though.
It was
right?
great.
You're in a steam room and you end up staying a little bit longer.
So,
it doesn't hurt as much.
So cleansing afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what's cool. And that's encouragement for you guys out there who are real estate agents, insurance agents, mortgage professionals. I mean, car salesmen. Go down the line where you work in a world and in a business and in an industry where your relationships with people mean everything. They really do. They mean absolutely everything. And so don't be afraid to have the conversations with people. Don't be afraid to, when you're sitting down in a steam room and you're the only two ones in there, being willing to go, hey man,
what's going on?
Yeah. And being able to strike up a conversation and just talk to people. It doesn't happen a lot here in Michigan. And so I'm a little bit of an oddball. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, 100%. There's only one other person that I met in the steam room, and he's a firefighter locally for Detroit. Super nice guy. And the first thing he said after we had a conversation, like, I knew you weren't from around here. I was like, why would you say that? He's like, because you walked into a steam room and started a conversation, which I don't think is, I think it's phenomenal, but I don't think a lot of people do. Like, to see a lot of people just kind of walking around doing their own thing. I like to find out what's going on. Like, what's in your world? Like, I'm curious, I'm not a real estate agent. I'd like to know, what's going on. And again, like you said, we both were attracted to each other with what we do, the way we help people, the way we respect people. And that's one thing that I respect about you and our friendship is I wouldn't be here if I didn't, right? Yeah. And you wouldn't have me here if you felt different as well.
Yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate that. I'm excited to, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast, because this is a topic that is incredibly important in my mind, because selling a house is one thing, protecting a family for a long-term is far more important to me, as well as I know that it is to you as well.
Sure.
So very thankful that you were able to come on the podcast today.
I appreciate it, Rory,
and be a part of this. If somebody's out there and they have more questions, hey, my wife and I have been really talking about this, and we know that this is something that we need to do. And finally, watching the Tuesdays with Rory podcast, you have given us the push to be able to do that. How might somebody get in contact with you? I know it was scrolling here. I'll have it do that again.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my name's Todd Bonanno. My cell phone number is 916. Again, that's from Cali, but it is what it is. 916-521-2203. Again, I would just start a conversation. If it's something you're planning on having a child, you're planning on having children, planning on buying a home, or just protecting your family, right? That you today is the youngest and by the healthiest you're ever going to be. So now is the time. That would be my my only thing to say. Yeah.
And without any, like we said, this is not a full pressure.
Oh, there's no cost. There's no commitment. It's literally a conversation, right? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's how I've always rolled.
100%. I love it. Again, thank you so much, Todd, for coming into the studio and hanging out today. Maybe we'll go grab a whiskey after this.
That sounds phenomenal.
And hang out for a little bit more. Thank you guys for checking out today's episode of Tuesdays with Rory. So thankful for you. And we will catch you next time. Besides that, you guys have a super blessed day. We'll see you.
Ciao.